Good afternoon. Hello, Miss
Hello.
Pam. How the hell are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. So today we are going to be talking about very
Marketplace fees.
marketplace fees. Very fun topic. I know I need to go find my eBay pom pom. Marketplace fees. Really interesting really interesting topic because I really think that most of us, especially when we're new, we don't really know. I think a lot of us kind of, and some of us always kind of don't really know our numbers or know what the margins are. And, cross listing is so important. And I think it's becoming more and more important
I couldn't agree more.
with how some of these platforms are changing and shifting. And we're going to, so Pam and I are going to talk about it, but we're also going to have a couple of guests in a few minutes. But we're going to start with just a little overview before we get to Desiree and Carl. So, what we're going to talk about is what it really costs to sell on a marketplace. And let's see if I can do, oh, good. So we're going to talk about platform fees and how each marketplace works directly. So this is our guide, and I'm going to try to make this available to you guys somehow later. I don't know quite where to put it, but I'll figure out something. Reseller guide to eBay, Etsy, Mercari, Depop, Poshmark, Whatnot, Grailed, Facebook Marketplace, and Shopify. I don't think I missed anything. We want you to understand what the cost is, what their structure is, and where each platform shines, in my opinion. And then we'll also get Pam's opinion and Desiree and Carl's opinion. So like I said, we're going to, how each major platform works, but we're also going to talk about fee breakdowns. And this is for this exact moment. So November 14th, or actually I did it yesterday. So November 13th, these were the exact costs. If they've changed, I will update this in 2026. Live selling versus static listings, pros and cons of each, and insights to choose the right platform for each type of inventory. But before we get to that, let's bring in Desiree and Carl.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, of course. I am so happy to have a man on the stage. We never have men here, so I'm always happy when there's male energy. And one of the reasons is I think you guys, I'm going to sound very old and sexist, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think you guys look at this stuff maybe a little differently sometimes than I do anyways. And so it's great to have another perspective. And I really appreciate it, Carl. And Desiree, it's always great to see you. They own the business Luxury on a Dime. And if you want to give us you want to tell us a little bit about what you guys do?
So sure, yeah, our company is pretty much just as everyone else. We're an e-commerce retailer. That's what we like to call ourselves. We sell in multiple different marketplaces and buy different products from shoes to clothes to sometimes health and beauty products, and resell all those on all the different products and platforms. And then obviously, just like everyone else, try to make some money in the meantime.
So you guys, I think, are aspirational in the sense that a lot of people think they want to be where you are. And you guys have a warehouse. You guys sell, and when they say multiple platforms, they sell on everything you can sell on, basically. And they are trying to build a very large business in the end. I think that's where you guys are trying to go. And I think a lot of us get into this and we think that's where we want to be. So I think you guys are very aspirational in that regard. So I really appreciate you being here, and I look forward to your input on this. So let's get started. So we are going to go back and see how tricky I can be. Oh, who would have thought? So the first thing we're going to talk about is eBay. So eBay is excluding Amazon and Walmart at the moment. So let's take them off the table for right now. We can talk about it maybe just a teeny bit at the end. But eBay, largest reach, most resellers are on there that we know anyways. It's static listings, auctions, and live sales, but live sales are very hard to get into at the moment. free listing allowance, then insertion fees once you hit your limits. Final value fees are somewhere between 12 and 15% of total sales. In my opinion, it's much closer to, for me personally, about 25%. And, it has the biggest outreach, biggest marketplace reach other than the other two I mentioned. And your store subscription can reduce part of your final value fees by 10%. So if you do not have a store subscription, figure out why and look and see if it would save you some money. So Carl and Desiree, what do you think about that? Agree with me on the closer percentage, or what do you guys think?
Yes, I agree with the percentage wise. Even though they say it's a 12 to 15%, that's based on the category. Our fees based on, with advertising, just about with any business you have to advertise, our fees are closer to 22-23% of our sales. So you're taking about 20 to 25 cents out of every dollar that you sell to give to eBay.
And I think, and it can be worth it. Absolutely. I mean, eBay is a big marketplace, but it's just, I think it's disingenuous. I agree. I think it's a little disingenuous to say 12 to 15%.
Yeah, that's not a deal.
I agree. Okay, now let me just see
I think when Carl puts it in that respect, that it's 20 to 25 cents per dollar that you are taking out, I think that puts it into it's an eye-opener, I think, when you look at it in that respect versus, it's just 20% or, it's just 10%.
Well, the other thing is that doesn't include any overhead, right? So that's outside of overhead. That's outside of the item cost. So everybody needs to realize like what that is. That is just what it costs to sell it. Sorry, Carl.
No, that's just your commission. And with the percentage-wise, percentages doesn't always give you the value you're trying to look at. It's just it's sometimes just a number. When you look at it in the dollar signs, you can understand it more sometimes. So if you sell $1,000 and you have 20% in fees, you're automatically giving up over $200 just to eBay and fees.
Right. So the pros about eBay, in my opinion, massive global audience. You can sell internationally pretty easily. It's great for long tail, vintage, collectibles, clothing. Things can sit there and sell years later. That is becoming a little bit harder than it used to be, in my opinion, but that's either here or there. Auction and buy now flexibility. You can still do auctions, which is a great thing for some categories. It's highly competitive, cons. It's highly competitive. There are a lot of us on there. There's a lot of people. While I do think anybody can resell and there's enough for everybody, it is getting more and more competitive on eBay. It requires consistent listing, in my opinion, and you have to be on your performance metrics. Your account health matters on eBay, and it matters to your bottom line. And you've got to make sure you know what your account health is and how to find it. And as Carl said a minute ago, I think advertising really is almost a necessity on eBay now. I think it's very difficult. Unfortunately,
eBay is one of the few platforms that will penalize you for not having good account health.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Desiree's 100 million times correct. If you have bad account health on eBay, you get pushed down in search. So, and it can take you a long time to get your account health back. So it's very important from the get-go to make sure you are watching those numbers and you know how to look at them. In my opinion, and I'd love to know what you guys think, I think eBay's changing right now. I think that, we know that the promoted listing is changing early next month. And I think that is going to have a big impact on how things work next year. I also think that the delist relist thing has changed the game a little. And so I think eBay needs some love right now and figure out how we're going to navigate it. I'm wondering what you guys think.
Yes, I agree that eBay is, and not just eBay, but e-commerce in general is a forever changing landscape. And with eBay specifically, they've just actually leveraged some debt and some money to basically make some changes within their marketplace. So that's definitely going to be upcoming changes that are coming, but we may not know what they are, obviously, because it's in the upper leadership. But
right,
I mean, e-commerce is always changing, and I know eBay is definitely looking to improve on that.
Agreed, completely. Pam.
Yeah, I mean, I started on eBay
Me too.
And it was actually November of 2021 that I started on eBay. So I mean, it's my first love. So I'm always going to be there. But the way things are changing, it is a little scary, you know. Um, Maybe some people will drop out, and it'll give us more opportunities because of all of these things.
I think that I will. My first, in my opinion, resellers come constantly. This is one of those things that there's always new people coming in constantly. And God bless them for doing it, because I think it makes us better resellers when there's new blood. And so I think we'll always get new people. I don't think it will ever. And when the economy goes a little wacky, I think there are a lot of people who come into reselling. It's almost a zero barrier into entry. I mean, you pay for it afterwards, but it's almost zero to start. So it can be a really easy thing to start. Okay, Etsy. I'm going to be completely honest. I have never sold on Etsy. So, this is what I went to the expert, Robin. I went to her yesterday to make sure that my Etsy things were true before I came on here and told everybody. So it's vintage, handmade, unique goods. They have a very specific criteria that you have to meet. Listing fee is 20 cents per item for every 3 months. Transaction fee is 6.5%, and then you pay a payment processing fee on that. Offsite ads kick in once you hit the 10,000 mark. So I'd love to know what you guys think about Etsy. How do you guys do there?
Very little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't sell a whole lot on Etsy. We do get sales, and then there obviously the commission is less and the fees are a little bit less. But when you tack on a mandatory offsite ads, once you surpass so much in gross sales, that obviously ups your fees. I mean, another thing for Etsy, they're also great for building a brand as well.
Yes,
Brand.
I totally agree with you. Etsy. I know a lot of very successful sellers who have built an entire business just on Etsy. Etsy does have that ability, especially if you're in a unique niche market, and if you are hand making something or a jewelry, or if you have any kind of that, it is a very strong marketplace. So in my opinion, there's a lot of growth there still. I think there's a lot of room to grow there. You need to find the right product and the right niche, but there's a lot of growth in there. Pam, do you sell on there?
Yes and no. I have items for sale on there, but Etsy is just like any other platform. It needs consistency. Yes. And that's what I've been lacking lately.
Okay.
Consistency on there. So I can tell you that I've sold one item on Etsy all year. I think I paused my store for like 3 months maybe, but I'm not consistent on there. So, but there's a lot of people in our group that's their best platform right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So learn from me. If you want to be successful on Etsy, you have to be consistent like you are on eBay. Just listing things there every now and then is not going to do it for you.
So let's talk about Mercari. I wrote an obsessive place. That's kind of an inside joke. So anybody who comes to my mastermind class would understand that joke. So we had I don't even remember what his title was, but he was an exec, an exec for Mercari. He came and he gave us a talk inside Listing Party. If you do not belong to List Perfectly, you should. And that's one of the reasons, because we get people to come in and talk to us. And he came in and talked to us, and he must have said the word obsess or obsessive 100 times during the hour or 2 hours that he was there. And he talked about how that's kind of their thing, their niche. They go after people. He talked about K-pop, and he talked about Pokemon, and he talked about other things that are people can get obsessed about. And so that's what that is. But it's a static listing site. Selling fees are a flat 10%. There's no listing fee at all. And it's a simple fee structure. So on that ways, I think it's really easy to list. It's a really fast cross list from List Perfectly. It has much lower barrier, I think, but it needs some love. And it also, the ASP is low comparatively to eBay and Etsy. And it's, if your stuff is less niche, I think you get less traffic. The sales velocity, I think, is much lower than other platforms. What do you guys think?
I feel a little different about that because
Good.
Mercari was my top seller for a long time. When we first started, we started with all used items, everything donations. It was all free. And Mercari for me felt like the yard sale platform. I could post anything up there, and it could be from a salt shaker that was missing the bottoms, or it could be used shoes, and it would sell there faster than any other platform. And you're right, the ASP was lower, but my fees are lower. So it evened out for me. And I felt like when I transitioned when we moved obviously to a larger scale, it was harder to go to Goodwill and get free items. So we did transition to new with tags. When we made that transition, we seen Mercari go down, eBay and Poshmark went up. But your audience, you have to appeal to your audience, and your audience on Mercari is looking for maybe the used pair of shoes because they can't afford new, or they're looking for used items.
So let's talk about that for a second. So for Mercari, you think if you are a used clothing seller or a used good seller, you think Mercari deserves your attention and put some love there to see what you can do with it?
Definitely.
Yes.
All right. It's good to know because, and we all have different experiences. And I think I probably gave up a little too soon on it, to be quite honest with you. Pam,
I never started it.
Okay.
No, I think after the guy came, it really turned me off even more to Mercari. But all of the shipping woes that I hear everybody talk about, I just didn't want to have to learn another marketplace. And that one just seemed like it was going to be too much of a learning curve, and I didn't want to get into it.
Probably
that's funny.
One.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think that's funny because that wasn't my experience at all. I didn't think there was any learning curve with it. I thought it was very, very easy. Did you agree with that, Desiree?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It was a very simple flow. It wasn't as simple as Depop, but it was simple.
So let's talk about Depop. So Depop came last week. Actually, the last 2 weeks, we've had a webinar with Depop. It was fabulous, both of them. They were very thorough. They did a really great job. So shout out to Depop. So they are a circular fashion, mobile first friendly, mostly fashion and accessories, static listings. They have no fees for sellers. So no fees to me makes it seem, why aren't we going to try it? They're, in my opinion, because there's no fees, I kind of think everybody should give it a try and see if they can make it work for them. There is an optional boosted listing of 8%. And what I'd like to say about this is it is exactly what eBay started as. Their promoted listings is exactly their promoted fees. Boosted listings is exactly what promoted listing was on eBay when it started. You get a duplicate listing. So they just take your listing. Now you have a duplicate one in the feed. And then they also put it in front of buyers in other places. And that is exactly what eBay used to do. And the other great thing is you only pay the 8% if it sells. So it is exactly what eBay used to do and is now, of course, they had changed it to that halo effect and now they're changing it again. But so Depop's boosted listing fee to me seems perfectly legitimate and fair across the board. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Well, I'm sure it helped that they hired on an eBay employee, ex-eBay employee, that probably helped.
I didn't even know. I don't think I knew that.
Yes, the gentleman who was presenting said he.
No, that was B-Stock. That was B-Stock.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought they had also hired some other employees from there as well.
Yeah, they might have. The thing that's interesting about it is that, Etsy owns it. And yes. I don't know, it's been a couple of years ago that they bought it now. And so I think they're making some moves. And I'm interested to see how it goes. I didn't mean to cut you off, Desiree. Finish your thought. I apologize.
Oh, no, that's fine. I feel like Depop, though, is, like you said, going to come up because Etsy has the backing, the funding, and they're going to basically teach them almost like a mentor would to show them how to grow and be a big boy in the playing field.
Yes.
And I hope that's.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I hope that's 100% true. Go ahead, Carl.
And Depop seems to be more appealing more to the younger generation as well, versus any other age group or like segment of individuals. Like
eBay doesn't.
Yeah, eBay doesn't seem to do that. And like even my sister, she's younger than me, but she knew Depop over
eBay, Poshmark.
Yeah, she
didn't know any of them.
She doesn't know Poshmark, and I was just like, really? But,
really? That's funny.
And I was like, okay.
And it's mostly app based. Most of their, I think I read that like 90-something% of their sales come from app. I mean, it was way higher than the eBay, which is I think at 60 now. So people are buying from their apps, and I think that the Depop, I'm just going to say, I thought they did a great presentation. And if you are not there, I think what the heck do you have to lose? And if you're in List Perfectly, we're going to start a challenge starting in January. I think it's going to be called what? What's it called, Pam?
Oh my gosh. Top Seller Sprint.
Yeah, that's what it's called. I couldn't for the life of me remember. I must have asked her 42 times. So we're going to do that starting in January. So be on the lookout for that. I think it'll be fun. All right. So Posh, I wrote, is always expanding. I should have wrote always changing.
Yeah.
Poshmark is a flat 20% on anything over $15. Under $15, it's $2.95. It is free to list, and they do have live selling also. How do you guys, before I go in, what do you guys think of Posh? Go ahead, please, Miss Desiree. How do you feel about Posh?
I love Posh. Posh is my number one selling platform. I absolutely love it. Not only for the fact that I get more money for the same item that I sell on eBay. I would have them both up for the same price. I'll get a $20 offer on eBay, but a $40 offer on Poshmark. And it just, the 20%, I'm still paying 22 on eBay and I'm making more on Posh. It, to me, just makes more sense. And I do like the fact that Posh does not allow returns unless I make a mistake. So when I see the item leave, I say goodbye forever. And that's the nice part, is no, it didn't fit or it wasn't the color blue I like. So that's the nice extra things. And then they also take care of the customer service. So if that customer does open up a claim, Poshmark most of the time will back you as a seller, where eBay kind of is very wishy-washy. It's, did you do this or did you maybe not do that? So I do like Posh that they mostly follow their own rules.
I mean, and to add on to that with Poshmark, even though the commission's in a higher range of 20%, like you mentioned with eBay, ours was about 22%. At least Poshmark, you don't handle any shipping. Like that is all taken care of. You have no expense on your shipping unless you're over that 5-pound mark. So like you can ultimately kind of make more money because you're not paying any shipping costs.
And the return, if you ever do have to have a return, Poshmark's giving you a return label. I'm not eating that $8 as well. So, I mean, I don't mind the returns, but if they're going to pay for the shipping label, that just makes it even better.
Why not?
So this morning, Posh made some changes to their platform this morning. They changed their categories this morning to a drop down, I believe, and they kind of changed it around the way it works. Yeah. And they also changed their pictures. So pictures are no longer square on Poshmark. They are now, 4x3 or, 2x3. And I think there are going to be a lot of changes coming to Poshmark next year. I think Posh, they have new leadership. Yep. They have a new CEO, but they also have a lot of other execs who have left, not just Manish. And I think that there is going to be, I think 2026 is going to be a very different year for Poshmark. And so I hope it ends up being good for us as resellers. So we will see. But that is my prediction. I think it's going to be a much, much different playing field in 2026.
We hope so.
Yeah.
I love Poshmark. I mainly sell on eBay and Poshmark. Those are my two biggest platforms. Poshmark goes in spurts for me. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's, what happened? Where is everybody? But I love eBay and Poshmark are my number 1 and 2. And my sales they used to be neck and neck with being close with each other. So I can't complain about either one of them.
It's interesting because, most of you guys who know me know that my daughter runs my business really now. And I only do certain things. But when I was running it at the height of when I was doing it all by myself, I could never get Posh to be even close to eBay. eBay just blew Posh out of the water. And so it's an interesting thing for me when you guys are like, oh, I love Posh. Posh makes this much money. I'm always like, how the hell did you do it? Maybe I just didn't have the right stuff for Posh. Maybe I'm not poshy enough. All right. Facebook Marketplace. I wrote, you never know, because you never know. It, has had problems in the past where it's disappeared and then it comes back and you can ship and then you can't ship. And, but right now it's static listings. Local pickup is 0 fees. So that's great. If you have something you want to sell, a bed, a bureau, a whatever, you can throw it up there. Somebody can come pick it up. It's a high local, for volume, high volume for local people. The Facebook platform considerations, I think, it's a tough thing. They don't have the infrastructure is basically what I should have wrote. There's no real infrastructure. Now, Carl brought up a really good point. I'm going to remove this real quick. Carl brought up a really good point while we were kind of doing our pre-show and talking about this. And he brought up Facebook shops. So, and that isn't what I was talking about because I think because to have one, you kind of already have to be an established business. Is that correct, Carl?
Yes, to my knowledge and my understanding with Facebook, I should call them Meta because they control not just Facebook, it's as well as Instagram. But Instagram doesn't have the local pickup. But Facebook Marketplace is tied to your personal Facebook account and your personal account. But and then that's all to your personal finances as well, like your own personal bank account. The Facebook shop, which is a different whole completely section, which is dedicated specifically to businesses and business accounts with Meta business accounts. That's then dedicated to their business financials and business accounts. And that's the way that businesses keep their finances separate from their personal.
And they are tied to Shopify too, you said, right? So if you have a Shopify account, you can get or apply for a shop on Facebook.
Yes, so you can tie up your Meta business account to your Shopify account and have everything that links for you so that you could push your inventory to the Facebook shop and not the marketplace, just the shop.
Right. So I just want to make sure everybody understands those are two separate things. And most resellers are not on Facebook shops at the moment anyways. And who knows, it may change at some point, but at the moment. All right, let me see how I do this. Add to stage. Huh. I'm getting better at this, guys. It's only taken like 2 years, but I'm getting better. All right. So Grailed
just made a great point. First of all, I didn't even know Facebook shops was a thing until our pre-show, just saying. But she says that the shops still exist, but with a major change. Meta is shifting towards directing customers to a business's own website for checkout instead of processing purchases directly within the app.
So, and that makes sense because they had such a problem with the infrastructure and such a problem with, that is basically why it went away for a little while and then came back, right? Because they had such a problem with their infrastructure. They just, they started out as a social platform and then people wanted to buy and sell things and they were like, oh crap. And they tried to, I think, in my opinion, tried to catch up and they just couldn't ever kind of get there. So maybe this is a way that it will work. Thank you for weighing in, Chris.
Yeah, and with the shop real quick. Instagram was the same way. Instagram had the shop as well, but they discontinued the shop completely and they drove traffic to your website instead. So I guess they're trying to do that overall with Meta.
Yeah. Well, and it makes sense because it's in a completely different, you'd have to build a completely different infrastructure than what you already have.
Yeah.
And whether it's worth it or not, it depends.
More liable for taxes and more accounting. So
people and a ton of stuff.
Yeah. And they already have really bad customer service anyway. So
exactly. They don't need to make it worse. All right, Grailed. Grailed is an animal I do not know much about. It's a niche platform, designer, vintage, streetwear. There's no listing fee. The commission is only 9%. And the payment, and plus the payment processing fee. So it is a low cost place to be on. The pros are it's a high value niche audience, very strong in specific apparel categories, but I think it's a smaller audience. It requires a lot of style focused inventory. So you need to style category. You have to be very specific. It has to be like on brand, on trend right now. That's what it seems like from the outside to me anyways. Not ideal for low value or bulky items, in my opinion. It would be never somewhere that I could sell my stuff. Do you guys sell there?
No. I wish I found that kind of stuff to sell.
I just love the way all three of you are like, no, like at the same time. Does anybody in the chat, does anybody here sell on Grailed and do well? I'm just wondering. Let us know in the chat.
With Grailed early on when they first started, and we were selling a lot of shoes on there, and they paused our account because they wanted to verify with pictures. They wanted all of my pictures to have a little tiny name or a watermark or something on them to show that I owned the shoes and that I wasn't drop shipping them. And I had thousands of shoes already pictured. I'm not going to go back and repicture everything. So I kind of just told them to shut the account at that point.
It was not.
So that's interesting. So they were worried that, so there's no drop shipping on Grailed. That's what we learned from that little story. And also that so they care about what's on their web, but the problem is most of people don't want any watermarks. It's very difficult to ask I think a business reseller, and I mean that as in we're in the business of reselling, right? We're not just selling our own stuff. We're not just to go back and to do one thing for a very specific marketplace. It makes it so that it's not usually worth my time or my effort because I'd have to do right. Do you get what I mean? So
it's the time. It's the investment of time you get for the money that you would get out of it.
Right. Exactly. Amy wrote, I cross list, but I've only sold 2 items in 2 years. So, I don't know anyone who does, real big there. Okay. Whatnot. It is live selling and static. Their static marketplace is growing, in my opinion. They're really trying. They're trying to put some money into that. We'll see how it takes off. So it's auctions and buy it now. And the commission's only 8% plus a payment fee, and there's no listing fee. I'm wondering how you guys, oops, sorry, I went too far. I'm wondering how you guys feel. It takes a little while to build up a following over there. There's a very fast shipping expectation, which I think is fine for some of us. But if you have a big show and you sell a lot, it is a lot of work the next day. Just ask Pam. Right, Pam? It requires you to be on camera to talk. Some people don't like this. They do have faceless shows. I don't know how popular those are. I do
They're
think
not popular.
the fee structures. Yeah, they're not. That's what I agree.
On Whatnot, they're not.
The fee structure I think is great. My problem is the low starts, I think, and the fact how low you have to start for how long to be able to build up a following.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it consistently now for a month and a half. Not because I wanted to, but and I've been trying different things, and it's a lot of work. I have not had any marketplace sales, static marketplace sales. I've sold 256 items.
Wow.
And I have over 1,000 followers.
Great.
It sounds great, but Desiree can tell you that it's not that. That doesn't equate into buyers.
Yeah.
So I've done everything from new with clothes tags to used clothes to like Amazon unboxing with home goods. And The best that I've done was with the $2 new clothes, but everybody was buying the clothes for $2.
Yeah.
And when you doing all the fees, you're only making $1.21 or so per item when you sell them for $2.
Yeah, and that's the issue, right? Is that you have to start at that level to build up to be able to get enough people in a room that when you have a $2 start, it's going to go up to $6 or whatever. How do Desiree and Carl, do you guys do Whatnot at all?
We don't do the live selling part. We haven't tested that out too much. We've done some live selling with other platforms, but it just never really was a successful thing for us. Probably like you said before, like you never really dove into it to try, but for static listings, we haven't really had any success with that so far. But as you mentioned, there's really no fees to get started, so why not?
Yeah,
right.
We use
and I do think they are. Right. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, I was going to say
fine.
we used List Perfectly to download the file and literally just upload it. So it made it really easy using List Perfectly just to get all of our inventory over there at once, whether we were going to do the live sales or not.
Right. I do think they are putting some money into the static listing. They are a new platform. They are working out their bugs. There is a lot of, I want to use the word drama, a lot of stuff that happens, with, I don't even want to go down the road, but, so I think they're still finding their footing. And sometimes it's really good to get in at the bottom level, right? Like it's good to get in at the start and grow with them and see what happens. And, since there's no real fees to get in, there's no downside, like Carl said, I don't think, to try it.
I was in a Q&A with a Whatnot seller the other day, and she's part of the seller community board or something. I don't know. And she said that Whatnot just is putting in like over $200 million into something, into improving Whatnot and improving like safety and security. And they're really trying to keep it going. As much as I am not a big fan of live selling, we all, well, not all of us, but a lot of us know who Gary Vee is. And he's like got his finger on the pulse of stuff that happens before we even know that's happening. And he has said over and over again that live selling is the way of the future. He's even on Whatnot.
Yep.
He even has stuff that's selling there. So I think it's going to be part of the reselling culture. I mean, look at when we were growing up, we had QVC.
Right.
And then Home Shopping Network. I mean, how many people watched QVC for hours? I mean, I know I did. I bought a whole bunch of stuff off of QVC. Black Hills Gold, let me tell you, that was my show. I wanted to watch it.
It's funny because the only thing I have about HSN and, QVC is my dad, when he got older and he stopped working, he started watching them. And there was a guy named David in the kitchen, and he would buy stuff and he'd say to me, I have meatballs coming from David. Come over for Sunday. We'll have meatballs. Or I bought Omaha steaks from David. And it took me about 6 months to figure out, I thought David was like a friend of his. And I finally said to him, why the hell do you keep buying food from this guy named David?
David Venable, if I remember correctly. And they used to sell Mrs. Prindable's apples.
Yeah.
Did you ever see those? They would cut into those things.
We got them for like 10 years for Christmas. We would get them. I wish my daughter was here because we would get them every Christmas, those apples, because of David. All right. So Carrie's right. I'm not clear if you have to do a live show before you can do a static listing. I do not think so. I do not think that's true.
So the way you get around that is you have to list. Once you get approved to sell, you have to get approved first. You can't just go into their marketplace and start selling. You have to be approved to be a seller through Whatnot. And you have to schedule a live show. And then you can start listing in the static marketplace. You don't actually ever have to go through with the live show, but you have to actually schedule one.
Okay,
That's what I've heard.
So there's the workaround, maybe. Robin said, no, you don't have to, because I was going to say, I know a few people who are selling over there who I know have not done live shows. What were you guys going to say? Carl, I think you were going to say something.
To my knowledge, that I recall, we haven't tried a live show over there yet, but we also have static listings up there.
Yeah. So I don't think you have to anymore. I think what Pam just said might have been the workaround a while ago. I think they've changed it.
Maybe.
Okay, so Vestiaire is luxury and designer marketplace. I have bought a few things from Vestiaire. Don't tell my husband. Operates static listings. They are an authentic marketplace. Anything over a certain price goes to authentication or has to be authenticated by a third party. Items under $83, which I think is the weirdest price. $83 is $10. $83 to $16,667 is 12% commission. Anything over that $16,000 figure is a $2,000 flat fee, plus a processing fee of 3%. It is mostly luxury, high-end brands. And I think that for what it is, it's perfectly good, if that makes sense. Like, I've bought stuff from there. You have to have a very specific kind of product to sell there. I really don't have anything bad to say. I think they're pretty honest about who they are and what they are, if that makes sense.
Yes, I agree. And then with one little quick tidbit with their fees. Yes, their fees are a little bit steeper on especially those items under $83, but you cannot list any item under, I believe it was $18. That is their minimum because they just the fees.
The fees.
Right.
So, and then they do accept returns on anything over $100
for any reason.
For any reason, if the customer didn't like it, they would return it to you, and that would all be paid for by Vestiaire. So it was the same thing like Poshmark. If it was sent back, they paid for it, and it came back in a really nice box. It actually came back better than the way I sent it. So, I mean,
I think it's still the same. I think it is. It's more like boutique luxury, right? Yeah. They're like the middleman of making sure that somebody wants that Louis Vuitton or that Chanel bag is getting exactly what they want, and they're getting that designer experience without. I mean, you're still paying. Don't get me wrong. It's not like buying. I've bought a lot of Louis Vuittons in my life, most of them not through Vestiaire. So it's not usually like this. But I think for what they are, it's a good platform.
Do you ship it to like Vestiaire and they repackage it?
Yeah. They have You go ahead, Carl.
Depends on how much the product goes for. Yes, it'll go to authentication, and then they will repackage it with tissue paper and all this beautiful stuff, and they send it to a customer in a beautiful branded box. And then if the customer returns it, it goes back to Vestiaire to make sure that it's in the same condition, and then it comes back to me. Yes. So that's the nice part, is you're not getting that customer who's doing the bait and switch like they do on eBay, where they're giving you back something that you shouldn't get.
Sometimes.
So it does double check that.
Agreed.
Obviously, I've never bought anything on Vestiaire.
Neither have I. I can't afford it.
Neither can I, which is why I said don't tell my husband. There was a caveat to that. Okay, so Shopify, I'm going to be honest, don't have a Shopify store, but I know that Desiree and Carl do. So we're going to put it to them in a second. Fees are $29. I think it actually can be a little less a month, depending. You can pay a year in advance and it's a little less. Payment fee is 2.9 plus 30 cents. Great thing about it is it's yours. You have complete control. Bad thing is it's yours and you have complete control.
Yes. So with Shopify, it is the $29 a month, and if you pay for that, and that's for the basic store, and that's to be able to sell with a cart and to be able to check out the Shopify. And that's when you pay up front in the whole year. Otherwise, it's $39 a month. And then all you pay is your credit card processing fees, whatever credit card the customer uses. And if they use PayPal or Amazon Pay or Apple Pay, it's the fees associated with whatever payment method your customer uses. So that's all that you would end up paying. And
but you deal with chargebacks.
Yes.
So you deal with the customer service, you deal with the returns, all that stuff you pay Poshmark 20% for, or eBay 22, or whatever the percentage is. They're taking care of that back end stuff that is now your job.
There's nothing. Right. This is okay. So I owned a brick and mortar store, right? I owned a store and I had a payment processing fee. But I had to pay for everything else, right? The lights, the store, everything. So anything associated with this, different than the lights, it's driving the traffic. Different, but it's all the same stuff. This is completely on your own. And most resellers don't do this, right? We always have somebody who kind of backs us up at some point, right? We have some kind of protection. When you're doing Shopify, there's nothing. It's just you.
Yes. And then, but Shopify, the pro about Shopify is you're connected into TikTok Shop. You're connected into Facebook. You're then connected into Shop, which is owned by Shopify, which is its own platform. And you are protected when they're purchased through those platforms. So if the item is purchased through TikTok Shop and it comes through Shopify, I am protected through TikTok. But if they just land on my website and buy the product and say, I don't like these shoes, I have to resolve the problem with the customer, whether it's giving a discount, offering a refund, a return, whatever the customer wants. Because if your customer's not happy, they're going to leave a nasty feedback on Google, and that's the last thing you want.
And they have to file a claim with their credit card, and you have to fight it. And like if they file it with eBay, eBay fights it.
Right. So let me ask you a question. I don't think I knew until right that second. I don't think that I understood until right that second that your Shopify is hooked up to TikTok Shop.
Yes.
Okay. For you guys that know me in the audience, I may have a TikTok Shop addiction. I didn't realize that that's how you got on there. I wondered because there was a few things that I bought that I thought, and I didn't realize that that was one of the ways that you could go through Shopify.
Yes, and I'll add they as well have their own commissions as well. TikTok has their commission.
Yeah, of course.
Like 5% or something like that. And it's relatively low, but everyone is taking some money from somewhere.
Absolutely. And I mean, TikTok's its own organism. Then there's creators who do it or getting something if they promote your, all that too. Yeah. Interesting. I did not realize that. Okay.
I've not bought anything from TikTok Shop either. So I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, I've done enough for both of us.
I have a Facebook Marketplace addiction, though. I will just say that.
See, and I could not go on Facebook for weeks. I only go on for work, but TikTok I'm on every day. It's bad. Final takeaways. I'm gonna give Carl the floor in a second because I think he has a couple important things to say. But from my position, know your margins. Know your margins on each platform. You can. Depop said the other day, like if you can sell something for $100 on eBay, maybe you can sell it for 80 on Depop and still make the same money or more money. So pricing strategy and knowing your margins really matters. Different platforms excel in different ways, with different inventory. Try some things out. Have an A/B test, maybe see if you can try the same things on different platforms and how it works. Absolutely use List Perfectly, and we will help you with that, getting all the inventory to all these places. Consider live selling if you're somebody who has volume that maybe you just want to get rid of. Think about it. But you've got to choose the platforms that fit your goals and fit your business. But I'd love to know what Carl has to say about this, because I think the way, and in all honesty, they also sell on Amazon and Walmart, correct? So which we didn't discuss at all, and really won't, because it's a beast unto itself. That's what I've decided.
Yeah, and that goes with anybody. Each platform is its own beast, and it could be a massive beast or somebody that's tameable. And like you had mentioned earlier, everyone has their own fees and everyone is different. But the way I look at it is, if you put more hooks in the water and you put more hooks on each platform, even though Mercari might sell for $20 and 10% commission, but Poshmark sells for $40 and 20% commission. Like at least you have more people's eyes to look at it. And even though there's going to be fees associated with it, either whether it'd be 5% or 25% or even 40% if you advertise with eBay, getting the listings out there, regardless of the commission it's going to be, bounce that commission into the sell price. So if you think it's worth $10, well, you got to add in commission for that of 10%. Now it's all of a sudden you make it $12, just so you at least know you can walk home with $10, but So, but most of the marketplaces don't really have any entrance fee, like you said. So if there's no entrance fee, you're not losing any money offhand right off the bat. So go ahead and get started. But then when you look at your finances at the end, you want to look at, not like I said earlier, you don't look at the percentage wise, look at the money that's coming out of each sale. It's not that it's 20% or 15%.
Yeah.
You're losing that much money out of so call it your paycheck because it is.
Right.
And I am very, very particular about my finances. I have everything on a line item basis because I am, that's just my specialty. I need to know what SKUs, what items are performing best, because that kind of data helps you make those decisions. So having that information helps. So if you know you're spending, let's say, $500 a year on commission on Poshmark and you're not making as much money as you want, maybe raise your prices.
Right. Or decide, are you selling the wrong things on Poshmark? Are you selling items that are too low value on Poshmark? I mean, and listen, anyone who comes to Mastermind has heard me say that I am not a line by line girl. But that doesn't mean I don't know my numbers. I know what my average cost of goods is. I know what my average cost of shipping is. Like, I know all these things. I just don't do it down to the penny on each line. And for some people, it's very important. And I would argue that for somebody like you and Desiree, who has multiple different SKUs, who are buying replenishables, it's a different game. And for you, knowing your stuff line by line is much more important than somebody like me who's buying used clothing by the pound, right? So I'm going in and buying this stuff by the pound. I'm just going to average out the cost. It doesn't matter that this one weighed 3 ounces and this one weighed 1.5 pounds. Do you get what I'm saying?
I agree with you. Simpler.
Right. So I don't want anyone to think that I would tell people that when you're buying stuff by the Gaylord or the pallet, that it doesn't matter what it costs down to the penny. It absolutely does. And it also matters where you're selling it and what the cost fees are included and what you get out of it, et cetera, et cetera. But then I also want to throw out there, and then we're going to wrap this up and we are going to go to Listing Party. If anybody would like to come and we'll have a conversation about this, and you guys can ask Carl all the questions because he's not around much. So come and annoy him, bombard him with questions. But velocity matters also, right? If I can get more money on eBay, if I can get less money on eBay, but I sell more of them, it may still be worth to sell on eBay because of the velocity. So it's a way more complex than just how much money do you make on each sale, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You're either going to have a high ASP or you're going to have a high volume. So
right.
You have your choice. You're either going to be like Nordstrom or you're going to be Walmart.
Yes.
I would like to be Nordstrom's. No, I've always been Walmart. Wait, that's a lie. I've been Walmart since the day it started. So I am the Walmart girl. All right. I just want to give Kathy a plug because she is absolutely right. Anyone who's on LP, Kathy runs Ledges and Lattes. It's a session every Sunday at 4:00. And she shows you how to do your numbers and keep them for the year very easily. So at the end of the year, you can do this easily for tax, but it also would help you with making these decisions. Pam, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Carl and Desiree, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. And her code is there, Luxury on a Dime. You get 30% off your first month if you are not using us. We would really appreciate it. Come into Listing Party. In my opinion, it's the best part of List Perfectly. The software is great, but we'll help you get to the next level. Come in and join us. We'd love to see you. So we're going to go over to Listing Party now. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Bye. Let's see how long it tends to end. I hit it. See, this is when I screw up. This is when I mess things up.